I just want to say, Julian, that I think the last time we did this, what it evolved to for me is opening my mind to understanding that there were a lot of things that I didn't know, but I didn't know that I didn't know them. And so it was very interesting for me to hear of people's successes and struggles and broaden myself to the point where I said, yeah, I don't want to water anything that's not going to bring value. You learn to say no. You learn to make it more about self in a respectful way. Taking care of yourself is borderline selfishness, but I think we all need to live in that space where the healthier you are, the more you can help others.
Is that is that the challenge? And I do feel like if we focus on ourselves, we're being selfish. I mean, we'll hurt ourselves by not speaking up because we don't want to come across as fill in the blank. And in some ways, that's not being yourself. In the concept of a jacket of virtue or the jacket of being selfless. Would you agree that that happens sometimes?
I think so. And I think that you have to feel that way in order to grow. We all want to hide our fears. We all want to hide our deficiencies. But when you can open up with a group like this and there's no judging, man, it's just very powerful.
I think the culture's shifting though, and that's one thing I like to teach about is the pivot that we are now looking for people that we relate to from a personal level to brand that really is what the brands that we buy into. So we don't buy into the perfection, we buy into the flaws because then we feel accepted by finding the same flaws. I find that very fascinating.
I was about to end. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thanks. I mean, that was just the best quote. What did you just say? You just said something about in the flaws. What was that thing you just said? Are you recording this? I need that for the book.
Okay, I'll give it
for the book.
Okay. What the shift is that we see the inauthenticity in everything. We've been almost like become aware of the marketing tactics from, what's in toothpaste to, how they market to what they say to word choices, NLP. And so we see the tricks. And so we don't trust the tricks anymore. We want authenticity.
I love that. I love that. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, being here, I think it's remarkable that you invited me here this morning. And that's what this is about in the sense that, I'm working on publishing this book, but the entire point of this book, Companions of War, it's a field guide for spouses of veterans with PTSD, is to fund a foundation for said spouses by Companions of War that we can do exactly this here. I'd like to throw in some yoga and farm the table and sound healing. Vera, I'll holler at you. But, being able to bring people together, and that's the fear in this book. And that's been my journey this year is like, man, this is a story of flaws and failures, but then also some triumphs, right? And putting it out there really is vulnerable. But, I'm going to learn so much from all of you just in like how I start this community.
Our society these days, being vulnerable is seen as a weakness as opposed to a strength. And I think it's truly the opposite. When you're vulnerable and you let your mask, I joined, I'm not sure I met the lady from Sri Lanka. I think you were talking to her, but she said about dropping your mask. Dropping the mask is something that we're all very, very afraid of doing. Our inner critic, our imposter syndrome tells us not to do that because it wants to protect us from being seen as weak or from being seen as, superfluous, if you will. Yeah. And so I think you hit on those 2 points really well there, Jackie.
Thank you.
Well, and Suhas, I think there's something that follows that. And that's our encouragement for one another. Because you can be vulnerable, you can take that mask off, but if you don't have that community that encourages you, you will realize the fear that you had in doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's something Mike mentioned earlier, talking about we encourage each other. Yep. That's the place where you've got to have that peace and that community to be able to step into that encouragement and know that, hey, this is not going to be a fear realized. This is going to be an open door.
The self-love. You can give what you don't have, right? You got to love yourself first. With the vulnerability thing, what's happening right now is very true what you said. People will pretend to be something they're not. But when you are true to yourself and true to the frequency, to living an honest and true life, when that happens, you can see through it. The main thing that's happening right now that a lot of people are missing is that, oh, they can't see that I'm lying. Like, no, everybody can see it. If somebody's lying, the other people can see it. You might not be able to see it if you are such a liar yourself. Then you can just fall in lies.
You know, there's two worlds out there. There's the world we see, and there's a world we don't see. And the world we don't see is that there's another genre out there. Like, unfortunately, I will admit that I watch probably too much TikTok and Instagrams, but I do it as a study. All right. I'm doing it as a mental study of human nature. But you would see that
That's an excuse.
Yeah.
But
those cat videos are, you know, I get it. Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. But I'm gonna tell you that the new generation has leveraged this vulnerability as the marketing tool for their businesses more than any other industry, I would say culture ever existing before. Every business is built on strength and knowledge and skill, and I would say a pedigree and just abilities to lead people. These guys are building their business saying, I don't know what's going on. I come from a dysfunctional family. My father beat me. I was homeless. I was addicted to drugs. I've been trying to figure my life out. And then they get 1 million likes on that. And then they say, this is what I'm trying to learn. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm screwing up. And people are buying that product because they're trying. That is the new business model. And I've seen it, and it's blowing me away. And that's what I'm finding to be like the new world is that.